How's it going, everybody? Damien G here, Big Gold Belt Media, covering another episode of How I Met Your Father, episode 5. And a lot of you on YouTube have written in the comment section about how you're really trying to give this show a chance. And let me tell you, I'm really trying. I'm really trying. You know, this show on HULU, which is a spinoff of How I Met Your Mother, has been met from a lot of my friends with mixed results. This show has, I don't want to say it's been divisive, but it's been something's not clicking for a lot of people. And I don't know if it's revisionist history of the original. I don't know if it's the nostalgia goggles that we all have setting in, but something about this show just isn't hitting for me. And I know a lot of people are feeling the same way. And there are some people out there who are saying that the show is hitting on all cylinders for them. And more power to you. So episode 5, and here's what I'm going to change about my reviews. I've noticed that in every episode, and maybe I just wasn't in tune with the original show, everybody has an arc going on in every episode. You know, Sid's got an arc, Charlie's got an arc, you know, Sophie's got an arc, Jesse's got one, Valentina's got one. And sometimes they don't cross mingle. Sometimes it's just separate, just arcs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just go through the character arcs by character and then try to bring them back together as I close out the review. So Sophie's character is going to go to Drew's house for game night. And when I immediately heard game night, I was taken aback to the original How I Met Your Mother series where they had a game night with Ted and Victoria. And immediately, thankfully, that was dashed because we're introduced to Sophie's mom, who, if I had to describe her, would be Loretta Stinson, just younger. If you know that character, she's basically a wild child, claims to have hooked up with Sting, the artist, the recording artist, not the wrestler, claims to have hooked up with all the greats, and she seems to have a bad track record with guys, according to Sophie. And typically Sophie gets involved because her mom gets her heart broken by said dudes, and then Sophie's the one that go there at the cost of her own happiness. So her mom's in town. Apparently she's only in town for one night before her musician boyfriend goes off on tour to Austria. Now, where have we heard this before? I feel as if we've seen this trope countless times of I'm going with the musician that I'm going to be in love with on their tour. And I can't just get it out of my head that I've seen this trope way too many times for my own liking. So Sophie puts off going to Drew's, his game night with his friends, to save her mom and to grill the new boyfriend before her mom makes a tragic mistake. Valentine's invited, obviously. Yeah, the whole group's invited. Charlie, Sophie, you know, just everyone's invited. And what winds up happening in a little thing with Sid is we find out that Sid used to, how do I say this? Used to play the one-man band to Sophie's mom's poster in his room that we find out because she's a model. We find out she's a model that she mentions multiple times. I'm a model, I'm a model, I'm a model. And we find out that Sid used to pleasure himself to Sophie's mom's photo. And in a flashback scene, we find out the reason why he's so traumatized about being around Sophie's mom is because he unintentionally killed his hamster while pulling an American Pie to Sophie's mom's photo or her poster, dropping his lava lamp that he got from Spencer's Gifts. And if you've been to Spencer's Gifts, you know lava lamps are a good thing there. And thusly kills his hamster, Slim Shady. The jokes write themselves. So he is traumatized for being in the same room with Sophie's mom as an adult. We also find out that our boy Charlie, long story short, wants to be a psychologist. He wants to solve people's problems. So he thinks by solving Sid's problem and Jesse's problem, because the bar they're going to is the bar that Jesse got dumped by his fiance or his would-be fiance when he had the proposal fail. So everybody goes back to that bar. Fun, right? Cool. Everyone goes to that bar because Charlie wants to save everybody and get over their trauma. Now, as a person who's worked in the mental health field for over 15 years, I applaud this. On the other hand, I don't like that it's played for laughs. Not many laughs, but played for laughs. And then we have Ellen's character, who apparently had a bad produce. She was going to go to the supermarket or the store and get some tomatoes because that's what was spoiled. And then she sees her next door neighbor's door is open, walks in, because who does that in New York? Who walks into a fucking open door in New York City? But you know what? I can't complain because I won't do it. So basically, Helen meets a woman who is grieving the loss of her grandmother who lived next door. And what winds up happening is, instead of saying, hey, I just stopped in to kind of take tomatoes from your grandma, she tells her, I'm your grandma's BFF, which hilarity ensues because she's lying, and Ellen is falling for this young woman because she's desperately trying to get out there after being in a long-term marriage or relationship for so long, and being a single divorcee in New York has been rough for her. And yes, she lives with Charlie. They are roommates, so that's been confirmed. So again, the hilarity ensues, and they all meet up at the bar, right? Where Sophie's dealing with her mom's ish. We find out through Valentina that Sophie's mom is cheating on the boyfriend with the roadie. Yeah. And Valentina sees this while Hilary Duff's character Sophie is trying to read the riot act to the new beau, as it were. Finds out that the new beau is in love with her mother and likes him, and to the point now where Valentina has to kind of blow up the surprise and say, hey, mom, your mom's kind of cheating on him with the roadie there, with the stage manager. And it turns out there's like some weird jokes. Again, the jokes aren't hitting for me in this series. It's just not. I don't know why. It just isn't. So we go to the bar. Charlie's there. Sid's there. Jesse's there. And Charlie's trying to get them over their phobias. Like immersion therapy. Great. Cool. I like that. So what winds up happening is that Charlie walks Sid through buying Sophie's mom a drink at the bar and not freaking out and not being a spaz bucket, and he walks away. Cool. Crisis averted there. Got over the death of Slim Shady. Now, when it comes to Jesse's character, he goes back on stage, tries to play a number at the end of the night. Apparently, some random douchebag in the crowd bought him a Cosmopolitan, because we find out in a flashback scene that the proposal fail basically had him falling off the stage, spilling a Cosmopolitan on his lap there. And basically people think he peed his pants because of a heckler. So he's being heckled, and he goes, you know what? That's enough for today. I'm not gonna embarrass myself anymore. But he feels that he took a first step for getting over said issue. So good on Jesse, good on Sid, and good on Charlie for figuring out what he wants to do. He's then told that being a psychologist and a psychiatrist takes multiple years of schooling. And at the end, we find out that how can he save and help people while listening to them and not going to school? Drum roll, please. He's a bartender at Sid's bar. Ha! So there we go. Charlie's got a job as a bartender at Sid's bar. And then Ellen's little repartee gets tied up because we find out that Ellen kind of puts her foot in her mouth, puts both feet in her mouth, because she goes to Charlie thinking, oh, what's the story with the old lady across the street? Charlie gives the wrong impression, gives the wrong description, wrong grandma. Sorry, all grandmas look alike according to Charlie. And there was an accusation made at the granddaughter that she's just a grifter, stealing the old lady's stuff. And basically what winds up happening is that Charlie makes a big snafu and gets his wires crossed and gives the impression of the wrong woman from down the hall. Basically, it is the granddaughter, and Ellen's character has a lot of egg on her face, feels really dumb, tries to make it up. Too late, too bad, so sad. But she says that she's not going to give up because she felt they had a connection, and seems like the very psychotic stalker, because she's going to be seeing her in the apartment building because she knows where she lives. And then Sophie and Valentina basically put the bow on their little arc by confronting their mother, confronting Sophie's mom. Sophie's mom says, you know what? I know I'm the problem, but the best thing I ever made was you. And then she wants Sophie to kind of fix her problems and spend the day with her or the night with her to kind of just cry and talk it all out. And Sophie finally puts her big girl pants on and says, no, I'm going to go spend time with my boyfriend. And she goes to Drew's house to basically be a part of game night. And they kiss, and then she gets walked in, and that's kind of where the episode ends because they talk about blind spots for parents. But again, kids, this show is not hitting for me. Like, I have my notes, and I'm not enjoying it. I'm going to keep doing it because, yeah, we're in this together. But man, I am not loving this series at all. It feels forced. It's not funny. The jokes are landing flat with me. Maybe Charlie working at the bar is going to give him more personality. This whole fish out of water spiel for me is not working for him. Valentina kind of fell into the background this episode, didn't really do much except be the good friend. Sid and Jesse kind of just got over their fears, which is great. And then Helen is continuing her dating shenanigans in New York City, as I said, being a divorcee. So if I have to give a rating, I'm going to give it a D. That's as much as we're going to get. We're not at failure mode yet, but we gave it a D because there was some character growth from Sophie. There was some character growth from Jesse and Sid. We didn't get anything with his girlfriend, his fiance, no engagement rings, nothing. But I get to D. Let me know in the comments here at Big Go Belt Media on YouTube. Let me know what you think of How I Met Your Father on Hulu, because man, this is not fun. But doing this is fun for y'all. It's a labor of love. And let's talk about it in the comments. And you can find me on social media at Damien G Show all across the board. And be sure to check out our YouTube page. All of our reviews, including me and Terrell's review of Peacemaker, the show over on HBO, written and directed by James Gunn and starring John Cena. That's a lot of fun. And tune in for the rest of the stuff we have here, including our wrestling podcast, which is every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll catch you next time.
Big Go Bell.